Hi guys, Jamie from Boxing Life, and I just wanted to give you my thoughts on last night's fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. And obviously, once again, it is strap season for Spence. He picks up the WBA welterweight title, and what was quite an interesting fight, I have to admit. And it was one which I think the majority of people felt Spence had enough to win, regardless if he'd been out the ring for a year. And also, I think we all know of Spence's abilities. I think looking at Ugas' style, he's a good boxer. Overall, he's got great fundamentals. He's obviously born and bred in the Cuban way of fighting, but he's not your traditional Cuban fighter. And I think that very much played a factor in especially the first half of the fight, where Ugas was landing some really clean, crisp counter shots on Spence. However, I think this is a credit to Spence. I think his chin pretty much held up pretty well throughout the fight, and in that period, if you watch my tactical overview video where I kind of discussed about Ugas, he likes to fight at mid-range. He also has a bit of a tighter guard. He isn't your typical Cuban fighter that likes dancing around on the back foot. No, he likes to come forward and set up those counter punches and slip shots, and that's exactly what he did in that first half of the fight. But Spence and his team no doubt knew this, and I think he just did a tremendous job going to that body and making Ugas tighten his guard up. And even from watching that Pacquiao fight with Ugas, when there's a lot of pressure on him, he does sometimes freeze up a bit. He tries to counter, but I think the bodywork of Spence overall just made him shell up even more in the fight. Now, obviously, Ugas got a tremendous shot on this in the 6th round, which looked like he hurt Spence. It definitely startled him, and he obviously went on the ropes, but he closed out the rest of the round pretty well. But by that point, I think Spence had done most of his good body work, and that had slowed down Ugas to that extent, where he had to kind of just hold his ground a bit more. He couldn't really use his footwork as much, and yeah, that left openings for Spence to go up top with that left hand, where he was obviously hitting Ugas pretty cleanly at times. And the evidence of that is just look at Ugas's eye, and it's a shame, maybe the fight could have gone the full 12 rounds, but I think overall you have to give Spence the credit. I felt he was relentless in this at times. I think Ugas' style kind of played into Spence's style, because if you watch any of Spence's more kind of earlier fights, he likes fighting at that range. He's a very good inside fighter. He's able to throw those hooks to the body and then go up top. And yeah, I think it was just a really polished display from Spence. Yeah, there's a couple of moments where he did get hit quite cleanly, but so does every fighter in every fight. And I felt overall he's quite sound fundamentally, and that's what you're going to get with Spence. And yeah, Ugas, credit to him, tough man, and I'm sure he'll come back again. That was a huge fight for him, and he held his own. I think he would beat a lot of other top welterweights and still give him a good challenge. So it was worth the risk for Ugas, obviously. Where do we go from here now? I think obviously we all want to see the Spence-Crawford fight. I think it has to happen now. All 4 belts on the line, undisputed welterweight champion. It makes sense for both guys. This is a huge money fight. I think Spence overall probably deserves the bigger split of the money if this is what it's coming down to. Yes, Crawford is a cheap, he's a 3-weight world champion. He's already become undisputed. And you could argue the case for a 50-50, but at the end of the day, Crawford's coming up to the welterweight division, and he has to challenge the guy that was already there. And I think Spence has 3 of the belts, and if it's coming down to money, it's a shame. You just got to hope that you know, they can negotiate something to make this happen, because this is really a super fight in boxing if that was to happen, and it's two generational talents as well, and I really hope we get to see it this year. So guys, that's my thoughts on the fight. Make sure to comment below, let me know your thoughts. Do you think it was a good performance from Spence? Do you think Ugas could have maybe done a bit better at times? Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.